Okay, so what I wanted to do today was actually walk you through a sample team dynamics assessment report. So you can see that here on the screen. And one thing to note is that I am absolutely using real client data. I've just anonymized it so you don't know which teams I'm looking at. So here's the first assessment. And let me just take you through, there's a lot of detail in these reports because we also explain how to read through one if you're doing that on your own. So I won't go through that detail, but just at a high level for anyone who's seeing this for the first time, we use a red, amber, green system. Red indicates a lower performance from 0 to 5.4. Amber looks at medium to low from 5.5 to 6.9. So obviously both of these areas need some help and some improvement. Lime shows us teams that are doing okay from 7 to 8.4, and anything from 8.5 and above we already consider high performance, but obviously still opportunities for improvement. So let me go down into just a real quick overview. Here are the 10 pillars and 35 levers. So you can see we get really granular into the detail under each one of these pillars. So accountability is ownership, are people taking ownership within the team, are people driving towards the same results or on different pages about that, is performance management constructive and consistent as an example. We cover lots of behavioral, relational and systemic factors, or what we call conditions and levers of performance. So just to give you an idea, some of the elephants that you may have seen me talking about more recently in some of our videos, conflict dynamics, power dynamics, are we prioritizing effectively as a team? Do we have strong team belief? Are we emotionally regulated or dysregulated? Things that are really common to see in high pressure, high stress environments and with high performance teams. So that just gives you a quick overview of what we're measuring in the report. Of course, this is anonymized. Now, just again, for a bit more context here, this is a CEO and his senior leadership team. And on paper, this team is performing. Their results, their outcomes, their revenue targets are all being met. However, and so they actually, because of that, they thought that this was going to light up green. And actually what's happening beneath the surface in this team is a very different picture. So you can imagine the shock on the CEO's face when he saw these results. And so, across all of the pillars, this is just giving us a bit of a snapshot about where they are. We then have a look at the team range, and we do this in two different ways. This is the first one, a spider graph. Each one of these dots can be someone completely different on a team. So it's not one person in green and one person in red, but we're looking at the highest, the lowest, and the mean in each of the pillars. And what we're looking for over time is for these dots to come closer together and move as far out that spider graph as possible. But what we're seeing and looking for is, is there alignment on a team? Is there misalignment on a team? Or is there polarization of very different experiences? And as you can see on this team, we're kind of leaning more towards that, right? Some misalignment that's really taking place. That's probably, team climate's probably the closest piece of alignment there is, and that's still quite scoring, on the lower side. And then some real differing experiences in the team here where, someone thinks there's really strong clarity and someone thinks there's not nearly enough clarity at all down here close to zero. So obviously a lot of opportunities to continue to drive alignment together and then out towards the edge here. By contrast, I want to show you a high performing team. So this is a team, real team, also real team data, a team that's doing much better in their performance, but obviously still has opportunities for improvement. And when we have a look at their spider graph, we start to see something a little bit more like this. So the contrast between the two is quite significant, but this is ultimately what over time we're looking for. It's not going to happen overnight, but this is a team that's aligned. They're rowing in the same direction. They're meeting their performance targets and results, but obviously still have room for further alignment, further enhancement, and areas of improvement across some of those pillars as well. So just popping back to this one, I'm going to move relatively quickly just in the interest of time here. We're having a look at this second lens. We're looking again here at the team range and mean. So where is the team relative to each other, and then what's the gap. This is the alignment and misalignment. So we've got some significant misalignment going on, especially in areas like clarity here, with the most aligned pillar being that team climate one that we saw on the spider graph. Over time, we want to see this reduced to 2 or less, which still allows for subjectivity within the team. I, for example, don't ever score 10s, but so it allows for that subjectivity, but that's what we're aiming for in terms of the alignment. And it starts to look a little bit more like this team here, where you can see really strong alignment. We see a lot more 10s populating. We do often have a chat about these 10s. When we see a lot of them, we wonder whether perhaps there's somebody new in the team that's having a really great experience, or potentially someone who doesn't believe it's truly anonymous. Our reports are 100% anonymous, or potentially it's a leader with very different awareness of what's happening in the team than somebody else. But lots of reasons why, but we often question into that. But you can see here, these gaps are getting below that 2 point. Then for each of the pillars, we provide some more detail. So a lot of definition here, some high-level insights, as well as 2 insights per pillar. So there's 20 insights across the report, as well as the range, the high, low, and the mean for each of the levers. So we stack rank them here, and you can really start to get a really strong picture about what's potentially happening in this team. Just go into clarity here. Similarly, you can start to see a full range here with a gap of 10 with very polarized experiences on this particular team. At the end of the report, so we fast forward, we do get some input from the team about how they think this team can improve. And then we also, which actually, this provides a lot of color and a really great place for discussion to start when we workshop what's happening in the data. It usually reflects what the data's been telling us. And then we give a performance score, which is the dynamic score here that you can see on the left, as well as the cohesion score. And we want to see the cohesion score higher than the dynamic score because it informs our ability to actually start to shift that performance for a team. And so we have a look at these over time, and we can start to measure how a team has improved with our comparison reports, which I'll show you in another video. So coming down, lastly here, we provide recommendations. So for the 2 lowest performing levers, we give an interpretation note. So to understand in a little bit more detail, for example, lower balance performance here may indicate periods of sustained redlining for a team. And some of the things that we talk about doing is go and surface where overload is persistent rather than occasional, go and reset unrealistic timelines, scope or role expectations, address patterns where urgency repeatedly overrides sustainability. I think a lot of things that many teams can relate to for sure. And then lastly, the considerations here, which are the data correlations, all closely linked areas. And we show at a pillar and the lever level to go back into the report and have a look at the ranges, the means and the insights, which starts to give you a really broad view of what's happening on a team. I hope you found that useful. And if you have any questions, by all means, reach out.